Foreign military aircraft. This is Chinese Navy. You are approaching our military alert zone. Please immediately.
High above the South China Sea, the radio crackles with a stern warning.
Go, go!
The source of dispute appears on the horizon seemingly out of nowhere. Islands, man-made by China, hundreds of miles from its coastline.
So when's the last time you went up?
CNN got exclusive access to classified U.S. surveillance flights over the islands.
Check.
First time journalists have been allowed on an operational mission by the state-of-the-art P-8A Poseidon, America's most advanced surveillance and sub-hunting aircraft.
So we've just arrived on station now above the 3 islands that are the targets of today's mission. It's these 3 islands that have been the focus of China's building in the South China Sea over recent years.
China's alarming creation of entirely new territory in the South China Sea is one part of a broader military push that some fear is to challenge U.S. dominance in the region, sailing its first aircraft carrier, equipping its nuclear missiles with multiple warheads, developing missiles to destroy U.S. aircraft carriers, and now building military bases far from its shores. For the U.S., the islands are a step too far, and this flight is part of a new and bold American military response that may soon include sailing U.S. warships close by as well. In just 2 years, China has expanded these islands by 2,000 acres, the equivalent of 1,500 football fields and counting, an engineering marvel in waters as deep as 300 feet.
You're a military man. You look at this, is there any doubt that that is a future military installation?
It appears to be build-up of military infrastructure, and not to mention we were just challenged probably 30 minutes ago, and the challenge came from Chinese Navy, and I'm highly confident it came from ashore on this facility here.
What used to be the Fiery Cross Reef now has early warning radar, an airport tower, and a runway long enough to handle every aircraft in the Chinese military. Some are calling it China's unsinkable aircraft carrier. These videos of the islands, taken from the P-8's advanced surveillance cameras, never before declassified. In a sign of just how valuable China views them, the new islands are already well protected.
There's obviously a lot of surface traffic down there, Chinese warships and Chinese Coast Guard ships.
We heard the proof. The Chinese Navy ordering the P-8 out of the airspace not once, not twice, but 8 times on this mission.
This is the Chinese Navy. This is the Chinese Navy. Please go away quickly.
And like the surveillance videos, the audio of these warnings never before shared with the public.
You heard over the intercom, Chinese Navy. This is the Chinese Navy. What was interesting is that there are also civilian aircraft. There was a Delta flight on that same frequency that when it heard that challenge, it piped into the frequency to say, what's going on? The Chinese Navy then reassuring them, but as the flight crew tells me, that can be a very nerve-wracking experience for civilian aircraft in the area.
And the more China builds, we're told, the more frequently and aggressively it warns away U.S. aircraft.
This is a dredger actually pumping sand from under the water on top of an area they're trying to build up land. And we see this every day. So I think they work weekends when they're doing this because
24/7.
It happens. We see it all the time.
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
This is a reunion 18 years in the making. 18 years of emotion and built up gratitude.
Saved the day for us. It was worth it.
It was, absolutely.
The year was 1996. Awaz Bawari had found herself on Saddam Hussein's kill list. The U.S. agreed to get her out of Iraq, but as she and her then baby Lava arrived at the border, she was told she could go, but her baby's name wasn't on the list and had to stay behind. Then soldier Greg Pippin took the baby in his arms and announced she had a new name.
So I said, but yeah, my name's Greg. If the baby's name was Greg, it's got to be a relative, and something means she can go.
Mom and baby ultimately made it to the Atlanta suburbs, where Lava would rise through the Gwinnett school system. Pepin went on to become the vice president of Boeing International. The families never saw each other again, but as Lava planned her graduation, she decided she had to track him down.
It was the first story I probably ever heard. She's always telling me about the man who saved my life.
The day I got Lava's email was one of those signature days that kind of makes your life worthwhile.
So when Lava walks across the stage, that man who saved her life will be there again for another key moment.
So I'm happy you tracked me down.
So am I.
I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Brazen about his ambition, Kim Jong-un pounds his chest over his nuclear arsenal. North Korea's state news agency says, quote, "We have had the capability of miniaturizing nuclear warheads for some time." The regime says it can also guarantee the accuracy of short to mid-range and long-range rockets. The ominous implication that Kim has the capability to hit the U.S. with a nuclear-tipped missile. The White House says it doesn't believe North Korea has that capacity, but admits they are working on it and could later threaten the U.S. homeland. Former UN Weapons Inspector David Albright says the reality is in between.
It's a credible claim that they can miniaturize. Where their claims are less credible is when they say they can launch missiles with nuclear weapons that are accurate.
Albright says North Korea has flight-tested missiles that can hit South Korea and Japan, and has miniaturized warheads to fit those. They've also miniaturized warheads to fit missiles that can reach the U.S., he says. But those missiles would have to travel through space, then re-enter the atmosphere. Albright says North Korea hasn't flight-tested those missiles yet, and they could break up.
You may be down a 10-20% chance of success, and are you willing to commit suicide for a 10% chance of success? I mean, most nations would say absolutely not.
But Kim and his regime are not most nations. He recently boasted a test firing of a missile from a submarine, a claim U.S. officials believe was a fraud.
Fortunately, they've not gotten as far as their clever video editors and spinmeisters would have us believe. They're many years away from developing this capability.
Kim's just nixed a planned visit from the UN Secretary General, and he reportedly executed his own defense minister with an anti-aircraft gun, just for falling asleep in meetings, a report CNN cannot independently confirm. One analyst says Kim is the most isolated North Korean leader ever.
We know that when new units are formed or new recruits brought into the Korean People's Army now, they regularly are lined up to witness an execution. And so intimidation is very much, it has always been part of North Korea's playbook. He's really using it.
Andre and Robert Crowley come from a long line of men who served this country, including their older brother Carl. When they heard his name mentioned on 12 News Tuesday night as part of a national project to find pictures of Vietnam veterans who died, they immediately jumped into action.
I said, Carl Crowley? That's my brother, you know, and stuff. So let me call my sister, because she has all the archives of our, our family going way back.
Robert, the youngest of 12 in the Crowley family, actually ended up having Carl's picture and plaque in his basement.
When my mama passed, I'm the one that got all the pictures, all the memorabilia, and so I just kept everything, and I knew what it was. I knew what that was, so that was in that plaque.
The brothers are very excited Carl's photo will be prominently displayed on the wall of faces in the nation's capital. It's a tribute to the man who died at just 23.
I'm proud. I'm proud of this. I really am. It truly is an honor.
Crowley was one of 3 Milwaukee men who didn't have a picture to match the name. Students at UWM have been helping to locate photos of these soldiers. They're trying to complete it by Memorial Day. And late tonight, more results. The family of Rudy Valenta contacted us with this picture of the young soldier, another face that won't be forgotten.